Welcome to the August 28th, 2022 Advance Report for McGowanGroup clients and NetWorthRadio.com listeners. I'm Spencer McGowan, your financial weatherman, with your fast-paced weekly tour of the global financial markets. We're going to start this week with a little good news on the economy right now in the third quarter. One of the most accurate predictors of economic activity has been the Atlanta Fed GDP now. So they're looking at what is real GDP after inflation. We have two negative quarters because inflation was hotter than the dollar growth. And this is great news for the third quarter. It predicts net economic growth at a positive 1.4%. Now, they've got data for a little over half of the quarter, but that's actually very good news because that's actually not a recession. We're going to look at where some pockets of recession have already emerged as we go through. This is the bear market, the S&P 500 falling over 20% just during the first 6 months of the year. This low right here surrounded the Federal Reserve, indicating that they will raise rates relentlessly. And the Dow fell about 400 points on Friday in response to Jerome Powell's speech, where he failed to define just how far he thinks he needs to go to cool inflation, which he may have already done. But the lack of definition for the capital markets does a disservice to the capital markets, and that will end soon. Sometime in the next 90 days, they will have defined how far they need to go, and they're going to get some data on some things I'm going to show you now that we pulled from Bloomberg this week. By the way, I'm Spencer McGowan, your financial weatherman, president, McGowanGroup Asset Management. We're a team of 10, the team that cares, serving affluent families from our base here at the Crescent in Dallas, and we invite you to come in for a tour or to set your time for a Zoom brainstorming session to adjust your portfolio and your forward plan for what's happening in the capital markets now. Don't get sidetracked by constant negative headlines that are simply clickbait. If you go to NetWorthRadio.com, you can get the longer play podcast, these charts, and Apple Podcast is available at NetWorthRadio.com. Here we go. Now, after that June 15th pessimistic low sell-off driven by constant negative headlines, looming recession, inflation, slowing growth, you've heard all the negatives. Ukraine didn't help. You can see that right there. And here we go. A 15% rebound in the S&P 500 from this low point right here. Stephen Norris, Super Chuck, here our allocation director, indicated that for just this little period right here, that's 114% annualized if you'd have just bought right here. We did add some global high yield at this point to the portfolios, some good dividend companies, and that gave us an opportunity. CNBC's Cramer came out this week and said he thinks this was the bottom. Okay, well, at least CNBC Cramer has spoken. Now, and he's got more buttons than I do. I like the guy. All right, natural gas. Why is natural gas next? This has an impact from clean technology, yes, to oil and gas pipelines. This has an impact across the economy, and it's affecting your utility bill. Over $10 per million BTUs, actually the highest, this is a 10-year chart, but that's the highest since 2008, and pretty much a record seasonal high for natural gas. Okay. That is Europe. The demand in Europe off the charts, unpredictable supply from Russia. They were told back in 2016 that their dependence on Russia would be a big issue. And of course, they laughed at our president at that point. Not so much now. Europe is paying a multiple of what we do for electric power as a result. These are the top 10 and bottom 10 performers over the last 90 days in the S&P 500. It gives us a quick intelligence report. The investment committee meets every week, and this helps us to guide what's happening right now and why we should respond to it. And that's why McGowanGroup should manage your portfolio, or at least a portion of it. In-phase energy, that's a solar utility or a solar technology company company. They provide the technology components for solar. With natural gas so high, they've been up 67% in 90 days. That's a wow. Tesla's up 25%, reporting some amazing results. Etsy bounced back 38%. Paycom bounced back 33%. There was a tech bounce. Over the last 90 days, oilfield services company Baxter International down 20%. A good example, you're in a great energy market. The oilfield service company stocks have been so unpredictable. We like pipelines and, of course, the infrastructure for exploration. That's one allocation there. Boston Properties down 23%. That's a warning sign for REITs. Western Digital down 21. So you can see it's not an across-the-board tech rally. We believe growth and innovation should be added in tax loss selling later this year. All right, existing home sales. This is a very important indicator. This helped us actually to guide clients on real estate back in 2010 and 11 in the depths of despair, because this was the first indicator to say things have turned to the positive after the 08 collapse. Well, here you have indications that inflation, this is existing home sales, inflation is coming down. Home prices, record price cuts, and the activity down 30% in existing home sales. The realtors would call that kind of a freeze in the markets. But that fat pricing that was driving inflation is even now showing rental rates coming down. And that's going to show up in the September number that we get for August inflation, giving the Fed evidence that they may have done enough to quell inflation already. Okay, this is new housing starts. You can see it's come back down to about the 2020 level. New housing starts, well, that's where you drive inflation with lumber, copper, other components. That inflation measure is saying we may have already turned the corner on the high inflation just about the time that you see lots of negative headlines on it. If you really do the research that McGowanGroup Asset Management does, you can get an intelligence read every week right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and visit NetWorthRadio.com. We would love to hear from you and even set a time for your own brainstorming session. Thank you for tuning in to Net Worth Media today and our efforts over the past 2 decades to educate clients and help clients make great decisions. That's the reason that we're here at YouTube McGowanGroup, Apple Podcasts, NetWorth Radio, and NetWorthRadio.com. The Net Worth Media effort is designed to help you make great decisions and address value at risk of loss, fluctuation in the markets. Remember, if we talk about a security, doesn't make it a recommendation until you come down and get a plan from McGowanGroup Asset Management, the team that cares. You can set a Zoom meeting or an in-office meeting at the Crescent, and we'll give you a written plan that encompasses what we believe to be the best allocations. This is a team of 10 devoted to you. That includes the research that you see each week from Reuters, from Bloomberg, and from the best sources. We always post links at networthradio.com for what we believe can help you make great decisions, the research that comes up. Now, the Net Worth Media effort is also designed to address cycles in the market, value at risk of loss. At networthradio.com, you can get the ADV form that shows, yes, we're a fiduciary, a registered investment advisor. It covers the costs of hiring our team to help you in the future ahead. It really helps to have an expert team on your side that you can reach by phone, email, and of course, a team that's here for you every week to address what's going on in the markets, because anxiety can often lead investors to make decisions that are either dangerous, chasing things, or selling things when they shouldn't. And that's a big part of our planning effort at McGowanGroup Asset Management. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to serving you and your family in the years ahead.